I hate the Champions League. In fact, I hate football. In my 19 years of life, Arsenal Football Club have caused me pain after pain after pain.
When is it gonna end, Robbie?
Whenever I have a slither of hope, these deplorable bozos always find a way to ruin my mood. 7 years in a row, this football club lost in the round of 16 in the Champions League. Every year, we somehow found a new way to get slapped up. In 2011, we faced Barcelona, and we actually won the first game 2-1. In the second leg, Messi put Barcelona ahead on away goals. But then we retook the lead through an own goal, and it looked like we might actually knock out the best team in the world, just for our best player to get sent off for kicking the ball. What kind of tomfoolery? This was a robbery of the highest proportions. And of course, Barcelona went on to score 2 more goals to knock us out. In the next season, we played AC Milan, and we had extra hope as the king had returned. But then we ended up losing 4-0 in Thierry Henry's final game for the club. However, the tie was not over. We still had the second leg to play, where Koscielny scored early on to give us hope. And then after 25 minutes, Rosicky pulled back a second, before Oxlade-Chamberlain won a penalty ahead of half-time, which Van Persie scored, and now we really believed. This was the original remontada. All we needed was one more goal, as Gervinho had a shot, saved into the path of Van Persie, who flippin' missed it, and we were knocked out again. Then we played Bayern in the 2013 round of 16, who slapped us up 3-1 at home, and some of the goals we conceded were just a complete sham, man. Who else concedes goals like this? However, we scored early in the second leg through Giroud, before Koscielny headed home to make it 2. But once again, we came so close yet so far from a comeback, as we were knocked out on away goals. Hey yo, you absolute bozo! Why haven't you liked the video yet? Make sure to absolutely bukkake that like button and subscribe whilst you're at it. Thank you. In 2014 we faced Bayern yet again, but this time we had a difference maker, a new superstar, Mesut Ozil, who was taken down in the box in the first half for a penalty, which was flippin' saved. Then Szczesny got sent off, Kroos scored to make it 1-0 before Müller got a second, and in the second half we couldn't do enough yet again as we drew 1-1. However, in 2015 we were let off lightly. There was no more Barcelona, no more Bayern Munich. Instead, we drew AS Monaco. Surely this was the year we make it past the round of 16. But early on, Kondogbia's strike from Rangers deflected past Ospina. Losing to Monaco was simply embarrassing. They had 40-year-old Dimitar Berbatov at top, and even he managed to score. But you know who didn't score? Olivier Giroud. When I find you, this hopeless, conspicuous bozo pulled off one of the most hideous striker performances I have ever seen, and I witnessed 5 years of Twerkazette as my number 9. 5 big chances missed should be a criminal offence punishable by guillotine. Vive la revolution. However, Oxlade-Chamberlain smacked in a last-minute goal, meaning we went into the second leg only 1 goal behind. Oh wait, we then let them go up the other end and restore their 2-goal lead. This team is so flippin' stupid, man. Once again, we pulled back 2 goals in the second leg to tie up the scoreline, and once again, we were knocked out on away goals. But this was by far the most embarrassing. For now. The next year we faced Barcelona when they had MSN up front, who linked up beautifully for the opening goal, meaning we needed someone to save us and turn the game around. So Wenger turned to none other than Matteo Flamini. And I kid you not, less than 30 seconds after coming on, this daft bozo decided to do this in the box, and Barcelona won 2-0. However, in the end it was fine because Tutankhamun scored a Puskas goal at the Camp Nou, and we'll ignore the final score. But in 2016-17 we finally finished top of our group, ahead of PSG, meaning that this time we would actually get an easy draw. So who did we get? Bayern! Are you flippin' serious?
It's okay. You're in a safe place now.
Where am I? After years of getting slapped up in the Champions League round of 16, we were exiled from the competition for 6 whole years. The way I worded that was like we got banned. We were just so bad, we couldn't even qualify. So instead, we ended up in the Europa League, where we were somehow even worse. Bro, I saw us get knocked out by Sporting and Villarreal, and lose the European final 4-1. The amount of trauma this competition gave me is insane. I get shivers just hearing the Europa League anthem. I watched us face prime Atletico Madrid in this competition, while certain clubs get to play Bozo Glimt in the semi-finals. And I will never forget this Olympiacos game. This club actually has to be cursed, because what the flip, man? We somehow weren't able to win Europe's beta competition. But finally, in 2023, we were back in the Champions League, where we absolutely ripped up the group stages, and finally made it past the Champions League round of 16, when we beat Porto on penalties, just for us to face Bayern Munich once again. And this time they had our arch nemesis, Harry Kane. However, this was the worst Bayern team I've ever seen. They literally finished 3rd in the Bundesliga, and when Saka scored early on, I was rubbing my hands and licking smacking my lips. This was a new Arsenal. We weren't scared of Europe's elite teams anymore. Oh wait, we were still a bunch of preposterously incompetent bozos. I even said before the game that Harry Kane only ever scores penalties against us, and lo and behold, he scored a flipping penalty after some of the worst defending I've ever seen. We did manage to equalise later on through Trossard, but then away in Munich, Kimmich scored to crush our dreams and knock us out. And that takes us up to this season. Once again, we performed amazing before the knockouts, finishing third in the league phase, before slapping 7 past PSV in their own stadium. However, next was the real test. Last season we crumbled in the quarter-final against Bayern, and this year we faced the current champions, the record winners, the biggest club in the world, Real Madrid. And we absolutely bukkakied them at the Emirates. Declan Rice scored one of the greatest free kicks of all time, and then 10 minutes later, he did it again, before Mikel Merino smacked in a third. Everyone expected us to then collapse in the Bernabeu, but what did we do? We dominated Madrid in their own backyard, with Saka and Martinelli channeling their inner Thierry Henry. We just humiliated the biggest club in the world, and every club in Europe was trembling at the thought of Arsenal Football Club. We were now the favourites to win the Champions League, and who was next? PSG, the biggest bottlers in Champions League history. This was the easiest club we could have hoped for in a semi-final. They always bottle it. The first leg was at the Emirates, and we were ready to create an atmosphere that had never been seen before to send chills down the spines of the PSG players. Just for us to walk out to the most pathetic, shameful, egregious excuse of a tifo I have ever seen. Which barbaric bozo sanctioned this monstrosity? Honestly, from this point, I gave up all hope. It was at this moment I realised how pathetic this institution is. A Champions League semi-final, and this is how you try to strike fear into your opponents. It looks straight off FIFA career mode. Dembele then scored after 4 minutes, and from that point, all hope was lost. Especially considering our strikers are bona fide scrubs. Martinelli and Trossard both missed absolute sitters, and to be quite frank with you, they both need to be banished from the Emirates Stadium forever. Going into the second leg, I had absolutely no hope, until I saw us start playing. We created chance after chance after chance, and we were actually dominating PSG. We were actually going to make a comeback. Just for Fabian Ruiz to thunderbolt in a volley, and our great start to the game meant absolutely nothing. I promise you, I'm fed up of supporting this club, bro. I'm gonna go entirely off script here, because the emotions are just too much. I saw Bukayo Saka go down in the box, and I was convinced it was a penalty. Then I saw the referee go to VAR, and the hope I felt in that moment was insane. I thought this was actually the moment we would get back into the game, just to see he was checking a penalty for PSG. I could not believe it. That was when I gave up on everything, bro. I don't care if he missed it. I had every single trauma of supporting this football club race through my mind when I saw Vitinha lining up to take that penalty. When Reyes saved it, I genuinely had zero emotion because I knew it meant nothing. And I was 100% right, because 2 minutes later, Hakimi scored. We genuinely went 6 semi-final games in a row without scoring until Bukayo Saka got a consolation goal. And bro, honestly, I was happy to see it score, but I did not even flinch one single bit when I saw it go in, because this football club has sucked every single ounce of hope out of my soul. We only needed 2 more goals to send us to extra time, but there was not a single second where I even contemplated the possibility of us scoring one. I watched our best player miss an open goal from here, bro. This club is honestly just cursed. Can't I just see us do something? Can we just win one flipping trophy? I've seen Newcastle win the Carabao Cup, Liverpool win the Premier League, Chelsea are gonna win the Conference, City are gonna win the FA Cup, and Man United are gonna win the Europa League. All in the same flipping season where we win nothing. The only one that might not happen is Man United winning the Europa League. And if that doesn't happen, the other potential outcome is even worse. In fact, it's so bad I'm not even going to speak the words of what it is. I've seen my team spend 248 days top of the league in one season and still not win it, before then getting 89 points the following season and still not winning it, before beating Real Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals the next season, just to lose to the biggest bottlers Europe has ever seen. Honestly, I'm done, man. And after all this, I'm gonna have to see my team give a guard of honor this Sunday to the team I've been saying are gonna fall off this entire season. Nah, being an Arsenal fan is not for the weak, bro. Nah, honestly, where do we even go from here, man? Like, just tell me in the comments you love me or something, just to make me feel better, I beg. Like, bro, this is really how Arsenal be feeling, man. Flip. The haters said we couldn't do it, and they were right. Honestly, great call from the haters, man.